Relation of geography with history, sir. Impact of geography.
Impact of geography. Isn't it? Okay, please keep your audios mute. Okay, now we are going to the another lesson. That is the prehistoric ages. Prehistoric ages. In this lesson, we have to learn the prehistoric culture. The prehistoric cultures, nothing but the sources with archaeological sources. So the study of archaeological sources. So before the script, the history constructed by the archaeological sources. The archaeological sources were primarily we have find out with the rock tools. So the tools were divided into three parts. So regarding the tools, the history can be divided the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. So these studies through the archaeological tools that is called as
Page number, sir.
Page number 59. So those are called the prehistoric cultures. So the other than the archaeological sources, the scriptural divisions also there. Those are the three divisions are there. The first one, prehistoric cultures, nothing but the before the script and the prehistoric period and proto-historic period, which is the making of a script. So the third one is historic period, which is the latter version of the scriptural period called as historic periods. So the primarily these regarding that three divisions, and we have to study prehistoric cultures in India. So the prehistoric cultures are made by the archaeological tools only. So the history can anotherly divided that the birth of Earth. So we have find out that 5 lakhs years ago, 5 lakhs ago, the Earth is born. So from that time, the ages around the globe, the covered by the snow. So that is called as ice age. In that ice age is called Pleistocene age. The ice age is called the Pleistocene age. So after the ice age, when the atmosphere is covered around the globe, then we are called that Holocene age. So before that Holocene age, which is covered by the snow, the age was called as the Pleistocene age. The Pleistocene age, the man who is called Homo need or the Paleolithic stage, the primitive man is called Homo erectus. Homo erectus. Page number 59, Nana. So the Homo erectus man lived before the Pleistocene age, before the Holocene age. Then the 5 lakhs years to the 10,000 years before Christ. So these are so many divisions are there through the tools. The tools were made by the stones, wood, and horns and bones. So many types of there. So the tools which were made by the a long time made by the stones, that is called the lithic ages. So the lithic ages are divided into three parts. Those are Paleolithic age, and the second one is Mesolithic age, and the third one is Neolithic age, which is mixed with the copper tools or bronze tools or the metal tools allied with the stones. That is called Chalcolithic age, which is mixed with the stones, the metals are mixed with the or association with the stones. That is called as the Chalcolithic stages. So these are the stages. Afterward, the Chalcolithic age, the metal which is introduced in India, the iron stage, iron age. Also, the last division of these historical or the archaeological tools. Through these tools, constructed our history. So, hello. Hello. Please mute your phones. So, the Paleolithic age. The Paleolithic age is from the 2 lakh year. Nana? The Paleolithic stage is the Stone Age, Nana. Stone Age. Page number 60.
Page number 60, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes. Yes. So the Earth is over the 4,000 million years ago. The Earth is born. From that, the lives or the human beings are started from the between the 2 lakhs years to 10,000 years. So during that period, the human evolution was divided into so many parts. So that is the primarily we have to call that period was Paleolithic stage, which is the used by the stones. So in this age, also divided that the lower Paleolithic age and middle Paleolithic age and the upper Paleolithic age. In this Paleolithic age, so the uh, primitive man wandering throughout the globe. Where is the river basins? The primitive man was going to the for the collection of food. So he seems to be the food gatherer and hunter. So like this, so the according to the Robert Bruce Ford, who was the firstly excavated in 1863 at Pallavaram. So the Robert Bruce Ford was excavated that, and he enlightened that Paleolithic stages history in India. So these Paleolithic stages in India was this is called lower Paleolithic stage. It is located at Pallavaram and Sohan Valley, Sohan River, and both were Plato and the Bhimbetka caves and Karnool Elephanta caves and some of the caves. Primarily, the man was used the caves as shelters. So that shelters was used as a dwellings of the primitive man. So many fossils are excavated in the caves. The fossil remains are in another source of information. The fossils of animals also available for us. The animals and the human beings were eventually domesticated, such as that. Sorry for the interruption. So the animals and the human beings eventually they are domesticated, that such as the cattle and sheep and goats, just like which have that horns. So that animals were domesticated afterwards. So the stone tools seems to be the big in Paleolithic stage. So which were the hand seized and hand flakes and the large pebbles. So these are the tools were used by the primitive man. So these tools were excavated at Narmada Valley and the foots of Himalayan mountains, that those are called Shivalik hills. Shivalik hills. So the Narmada Valley is likely to hold the interesting evidence for the Paleolithic stages. So the various techniques were used by the primitive man for the making of tool made of the tools. So the analyzing, interestingly, the reconstruction of environment and climate afterwards, which is the 40,000 BC. So this atmosphere was raised after the Pleistocene age. That afterwards it is called as the Holocene age. So the human life gradually moved towards the attempt of domestication. So the afterwards the fossils, the early man was used the fossils which is left the caves. So that has been found in India. The hint of the earliest human presence is indicated by the stone tools obtained from the deposits are ascribable to the human beings. From these Paleolithic stage started from the 250,000 age to 40,000 age before the Christ. So these Paleolithic man was used the various implements such as hand axes and arrowheads and spears and digging tools and circular stones and that hurling choppers and knives and spears and hammer stones, etc. So these tools were purely made by the stones. So the man was chopped the two pebble tools, chopped the hunting or skinning. These choppers were used for the skinning and the digging. So like that. So the phases of a Paleolithic stage is the early stage is which is begin from 5 lakhs thousands BC, 5 lakhs years BC to the 50,000 BC. This is this during this period was called that lower Paleolithic stage or early Paleolithic stage. So the second one is from the begins from 50,000 years BC to the 40,000 years BC. These 10,000 years were called the middle Paleolithic stage. So the third one is the upper Paleolithic age, which is begins from 40,000 BC to 10,000 BC. So the stones were the early Paleolithic stage tools were excavated in around the India and Asia and Europe. So in India, the man was mainly the stones tools were used for the chopping and digging and skinning. The early stages of these stones were excavated from the Sohan Valley at Punjab, and it is in Pakistan. Nowadays, it is in Pakistan, and the Thar Desert, you know very well, which is at Rajasthan, and the foods of the hills of Kashmir hills, the foods of Kashmir hills also the these tools were excavated. So this is the purely it is evidence from the uh, of the tools in early lithic stages. So these lithic stages were just like the tools. So the tools were made of that stones, just like large in size, just like see like these tools. So these are the chopper tools and digging tools and etc. etc. So these tools were used by the lower or early Paleolithic man was used that stone tools. And the second one is the second stage in Paleolithic stage is the middle Paleolithic stage. So this is found at the middle part of the India. Those are called Vindhyan and Satpuran mountains. So which is located in middle part of India. So the principal tools are varieties of blades. So before then, the blades and the choppers were sharpened, and they are modified as the previously then those are the smaller than. So the blades, the points, and the borers and the scrapers made of the flakes. So we are also find large number of borers and blade flake tools. The geographical, the middle Paleolithic sites considered thoroughly the lower Paleolithic stage. So in the crude pebbles and the industry in strata contemporary while the third Himalayan glaciers. So these are excavated in the western part of India, those which were located in the Narmada Valley, which were located in Narmada Valley, and in South India also the river basin of Tungabhadra River. So these middle Paleolithic tools were sharpened before than the Paleolithic stage. So we have to find out, we have to divide that Paleolithic stage and the early Paleolithic stage to middle Paleolithic stage. The tools were made of with both side and large in size. So in the middle Paleolithic stage, the tools were very small. The mode of tool is very smaller and very sharpened. So, please, Harikaras, please mute. So, this tool industry was excavated in Tungabhadra River Basin and the Narmada Valley River Basin. So, these tools were excavated. So the third one is the upper Paleolithic stage. It is this is the change of the atmosphere. So it is the uh, evolution of the Earth. The snow is around the snow covered with the snow. The snow is out of the snow. This atmosphere is created just like the early morning at nowadays we have to see early morning at 5 to 6 a.m. or 5 to 6 p.m. So this type of atmosphere is created nearly 10,000 years of the upper Paleolithic stage. We have to see like that. We have to imagine that type of atmosphere located in around the globe. So these upper Paleolithic sites were excavated at the northern part of India or South India. So which is the foots of Indian mountains to the north of Nilagiri or Nilagiri Hills. So between the eastern and western Ghats. So mainly these upper Paleolithic sites were excavated at the western Ghats. In the western Ghats. So the tools were used as that the tools were used in very sharpened and very smaller. These type of tools were very thinner, very smaller, and they are made of that tools were smoothened. So in this period, very good evidence for the near the south of Bhopal, Bhimbetka caves or Bhimbetka hills at Madhya Pradesh. So this is the best evidence. So in that Bhimbetka site, so many arts, historical arts also available for us. So in that Bhimbetka caves, the Mesolithic stages were practiced the art. So art with the colored plants. So the stage was in before the uses of the paints. They are used that stones with used as the like the choppers. So the choppers used like that blades. The blades and skinners, the flakes and the borers also used and they are made as a industry. So these industries were excavated at Bhimbetka site at Madhya Pradesh, which is the 45 kilometers of Bhopal. So the northern Vindhyan mountains and the Balan Valley also the best evidence of these tools and the middle part of the Narmada Valley also the foots of the Satpuran mountains also very good evidence for these type of age these type of tools. So next we are going to the Mesolithic age, which is the tools were smoothened and the smooth was very smaller tools were used by the Mesolithic primitive man. So the Mesolithic age begins from the 10,000 BC. So this age was divided through the tools, which is made as very smaller and very thinner and very smoother. So please unmute Harikaran. So the Paleolithic age, this is the middle part of the Neolithic and Paleolithic age is called Mesolithic age, which is the begins from the 10,000 BC. So then at the time of 10,000 BC, then the atmosphere was made by the climate, and the climate changes brought about the changes for the fauna and flora, and made it as possible for the human begins to the move to one area to another area. So in this stage, the man was going to be wise. So he got some knowledge for the tools. So that's why he was semi-hunter, semi-food gatherer. So in this stage, the microliths consign, which is consigns that tools, that which is consigns that flakes. So the flakes were made of the knives and sickles and hammers, and these Mesolithic people were used to that stone tools through the handles. So they are giant that stone tools giant annexed with the handles, which is used that bone tools, bones, or which is used for the wood. So then the man was made of that stones, just like knives and sickles and pebbles, and different kind of stones such as quartz, quartz stone, and chert stone, and edged stone, and chalcodony stones, and the jasper. So such the like of stone tools were made by the Mesolithic man. So in his wise, so the tools were used as the technology was controlled by the Mesolithic man, and he was shifted from the one area to another area, which is the nearest to the water bodies, and the closer of water bodies. So these type of sites also excavated in Madhya Pradesh, in or Jorbe, Maharashtra. So many types of tools were excavated in this stage. So in Deccan, so many excavators, so many archaeologists like the M. Sheshadri and Joshi and R.S. Pappu also excavated at Chitradurg or Chikmagalur or Tumkur, Ballari, and the river basin of Malaprabha and Ghataprabha. So these tools were called as Acheulean tools. These in that river basin, so the tools were called as Acheulean tools. So in that Mesolithic man used like these tools. So so many type of tools were used in this period. At Carlyle, who was the first discoverer at 1867. So he found at Windian mountains and Windian rock shelters. So the microlith tools were, which is sized in 5 centimeters. So the tools were long as the 5 centimeters, and these were excavated at Teri at Tamil Nadu, and Pakkam at Tamil Nadu, and Raichur at Karnataka, and Giddalur, Nelakondapalli in erstwhile Andhra Pradesh. So at 1971, the archaeologists were excavated at Badveli and the river basin of Sagileru. So the Nandipalli and the Polerama Vagu, the river basins were also produced that type of blades and choppers and knives, arrows and arrowheads and burins. So the regarding this type of tools were produced that area, and the Ayyappan and Jain are also excavated in South India, which is located in Tamil Nadu region. So the Megnapuram and Kuttampuli and Kuttankuli, so Kulattur, and at the in Western Ghats in Karnataka, Chitradurg and Raichur and Ballari. So in this period, the tools were made of with the different types of stones. It is seems to be like that the stones were very smaller, very sharpened and very thinner. So you have to see here these type of tools. Those are which is previously we are told. I told that the 5 centimeters, which tool also be seems to be a 5 centimeters in the that quantity of the tool. So these tools were excavated at the northern part of India, also excavated that the found at Langnas at Gujarat, Adamgarh at Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan at Rajasthan in Sarai Nahar, and the Mahadada of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So the primitive corns and rubbing stones were produced in this region. So the hand is also made up with the stone. So in this regard, the stones were sized very. So history class linked with they are given that as page number 68.
67.
The tools were
67 complete 68.
yes. So the animals also inhabited along with the human beings. So then the animals which is having that horns, the animals were associated along with the man. So those are the deer and the sheep and the oxes and the bulls. So these are inhabited with the human beings also. The goods were placed in that the ivory shells. So the life seems to be the evidence at this period. So the Sir Todd also found at Khandavalli. So the Maharashtra also those are excavated. So these at Khandavalli the Todd found with 6 layers. So that is the first one is bedrock layer. The second one is lower clay. The third one is lower gravel. The fourth one is middle clay, and the fifth one is upper gravel. The sixth one is upper clay. So the Sir Todd was found at Khandavalli, these types of layers. So the Maharashtra, the stone which is the made of these tools were the stone was basalt stone and chalcodony stone and jasper and Deccan trap. So all these type of stones were excavated at Pune, at Maharashtra, and Ahmednagar and Nasik and Python, and nearest to the Bombay. So these, in this regard, the tools also excavated as pebbles, and flakes industry was excavated, and the cores and the chips and the half moon type of tools, and which is geometrical tools were excavated in this region. So in this in Maratha region, or the Deccan region, so the industries, the tool industries were excavated at the time of the Mesolithic period. So the animals also, they have to, they are known, the animals, as the rhinoceros and the wild boar and the wolf and the cattle and the forest buffalo and rat and mangoes and squirrel. So these type of animals also, they are known about that Mesolithic man. So in this Mesolithic period was the man was making that pottery through the hands. So that made of that potteries was not burnt. So the bunted potteries are made by these people. So the geographically, the people, those who are the Mesolithic people, were going to the river basin, one place to another place. So that's why they are wandering one place to another place. So they are reached the nearest to the water bodies. So they are off. They are settled. Uh, they are nomadic. Seems to be they are nomadics. So in this period, so they are the man wise. The Mesolithic man was seems to be very wise, and he made a pottery, and his tools were making with very thinner and very smaller, and they are made the tools sharpen, and they are established the tools industries also is there. So the tools industry excavated in a Deccan region, as well as with that the North Indian region also, the industries were excavated at the time of Mesolithic stage.
Sir,
Uh,
who are nomads? Nomads.
who got
Who are nomads?
who are the Mesolithic people were getting the knowledge of that the pottery in Mesolithic period. So next we have at the time of Neolithic, Mesolithic to Neolithic stage. So then the Indian subcontinent along with the Pakistan. So the Neolithic settlements was founded at 9000 BC to the 5000 BC. So in this period, so the ancient settlements were located in the northern part of India, which is we are seems to that Kashmir are the foots of Himalayan mountains. So the first we are excavated that first village until now that it was founded at Mehargarh in 7000 BC. So it is situated at Balochistan and province of Pakistan nowadays. So the before in this before the 5000 people BC, the people of this place used that pottery, and the Neolithic stage was mostly this is called by the Neolithic stage called by the garden child. This is the Neolithic stage is the revolutionary stage. They have to commented on this Neolithic age. So it is the Neolithic sites were mainly the good number of sites were excavated at South India. So from the uh, 2000 from the 5000 BC to 2000 BC, so many parts excavated in South India. The now we are looking that change from the Mesolithic to Neolithic atmosphere. So the Neolithic atmosphere was begins with the agriculture. The Neolithic sites were more than the settlements in India. So the Neolithic people was becomes with they are going to the domestication. Domestication at river basins or nearest to the water bodies, and the environment was made him as the settler. So he was settled. He chose the settled life in this age, and the improvements of his way of life, and the ultimate effect in as much as it the animals and land and cultivation as the revolutionary. So the higher destiny of a population, it is through that the gradually those practicing that settlements as agricultural way. So they have overwhelmed at a hunter and gatherers and shifting to the cultivators. Their habitats were located in northern India as well as the the southern part of India. So the agriculture also provided some predictability to the supply the food. So the extension of cultivation is also required. The that is the phase. This Neolithic stage also we have the some phases. The first phase, the people those who are seems to be the semi nomadics. So the second stage, they are the settlers, but they are domesticated the animals. The third stage is the Neolithic people were located at they are learned to, about the cultivation. So the agriculture also they are done by that Neolithic people. So the main characters of these development of people. So those are they are used that stone tools were implemented and they are used for agriculture. This is the uh, told as that final stage of this human evolution, and they are settled through the permanent dwellings, and they learn about the wheel for the making of pottery, and they are domestication that horns, which is have that horns animals, and they are cultivation that grains, and they are established that work division among that people. So some people were chose the wooden experts, some people were chose that the stone experts, stone tool making experts. So some people were experts in organization of agriculture. So these sites also excavated at Ganga and Indus and their tributaries, and in southern part of India also so many sites were excavated as like as that Godavari Basin and that Krishna Basin. So mainly these Neolithic sites were excavated eastern Ghats in southern part of India from the Jorve from the beginnings of Maharashtra to the borders of Karnataka, Telangana and Karnataka, Andhra, which is nearest to the Nallamala forest, the basin of in uh, archaeological methods, those are called Kadapa Basin. So in that Nallamala forest also, one of the Neolithic, so many sites are there. So the Brahmagiri, the Neolithic sites were mainly excavated at Jorve in Maharashtra and Brahmagiri and Sanganakallu and Pikli Hall and Maski and Tekkalakota and Halluru. It is located at Kannada region and the Utnur and Palwai, T. Narsapur, Nelakondapalli, Nagarjunakonda, Payampalli, and Kodekal. So these sites were produced that so many tool industries such as that hand axes and blades and so many pebbles and choppers. So in this Neolithic stage, the hand pottery turned into that on way of the wheel. In that pottery also painted by that Neolithic people, and that pottery also made the beads. So the beads also made by the potters, and the site Mehergarh excavated in previously at the 7000 BC. Afterwards, so many sites are like in South India, so many sites were excavated. In the people were cultivated so many areas. So then they are claimed the agriculture to the preliminaries of urbanization. So the spread agriculture has been explained as moving from the West Asia to the Northwest India, West Asia to Northwest India, and but the evidences from the site in a latter area suggest that the suggestion of agriculture may be have occurred morely that locality. So in that agriculture they are produced that crops were here mentioned that wheat and barley and rice and millets and these were excavated, and the domestication of animals in this period. So gradually they are implemented that domestication of sheep and goats and cattle. So they are made the domestication of cattle. So they are established and built that for the cattle sheds. So in that each cattle shed have that animals from 500 to approximately the archaeologists were according to that archaeologists, those domestication of animals were each the cattle shed 500 to 1000 animals are there. So the pastoralism is started from the Neolithic stage. So the domestication of animals also be provided that food and the food and the which was grave goods, and they are the cattle also used for the trade and commerce. So then in this Neolithic period, these people also made the bullock carts. Bullock carts are single bullock carts and double bullock carts also. These people were produced. So the people were, the graves also buried through the man. Those when the man was alive, what is his day regarding his tastes. So they are buried with his tools also. So in this period, so the people were this is the final stage of settlements. So these the villages are established, and the villages the societies are established, and the work division also occurred, and the people were cropped through the agriculture, and they are transported through the bullock carts, and they are preserved the grains. They are preserved that grains and food grains through the pots or pottery tools. So in this the ending of Neolithic period, also they are used that metals. That metals are the first their Neolithic people were used that metal is copper. So afterwards they are mixed with the tin. So the people were later the end of Neolithic stage. The people were used that copper and bronze. So these both tools were excavated in northern part of India, which is located in the Sindhu river basin. So regarding this Sindhu basin, the copper and bronze was used along with the main tools of stones. So afterwards, the Neolithic period was going to be the Chalcolithic period. The most of the Chalcolithic period tools were made of the weapons were made of with the bronze, and some tools were made of the copper, and these tools were not only used these tools along with the stone tools, they are used along with the stone tools. So in this period was called as the Chalcolithic period. Chalco means the mixed the metal along with the stones. So these Chalcolithic sites were excavated in western Maharashtra, which is discussed previously, the Jorve and Nevasa and Daimawar, Ahmednagar and Chandoli and Sonargan and Inamgan and Prakash and Nasik have been excavated, and they are produced so many types of the tools like the bronze and the copper tools. You have to see here. So these type of tools were the people were used as Chalcolithic. So oftenly where the raw material was easily available for the craftsmen. So these craftsmen also experts in that made of bronze tools. So the in that middle part of India, the Vindhya region in Allahabad district also produced so many bronze tools, and so many according to the so many excavators like H.D. Shankalia. So he nearly the in modern period MLK Murthy and the Padaya also, these archaeologists also excavated the Chalcolithic tools. They are founded that Chalcolithic tools, the objectives were made of only with the copper and bronze. So some beads previously the people those who belong to the Neolithic stage, the people used the beads with the pottery beads and the stone beads also the people were used. So in this Chalcolithic period, the people, those who are used that copper beads and copper ornaments also, they are used the earrings and the bangles also, they are used with the so many copper axes and copper bronze axes. So the tools were excavated in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and approximately now we are what we are calling that northern to southern. All the states were produced this chalcolithic type of bronze and copper tools. The people were also used that pottery. They are performed that skills on pottery. They are made of potteries, the painted grayware and painted redware and the blackware and also the greenware also the people were used for the parts. So they are painted on the parts regarding that those their what is that the people were the cultural events, the cultural activities were painted on the stone, the potteries. So some South Indian tools were, the potteries were excavated so many places. So that in Maharashtra region, that is called Nevada culture. Nevada culture in Maharashtra. So here so many seeds and so many food grains also excavated here. So many the ragi or bajra and corn and the black gram and the green gram, wheat, rice and cotton also the Nevada people were used for this type of.
Hello? Hello, sir.